Good evening, all. Ira Epstein of Linn & Associates with your SPDR ETF wrap-up for this Tuesday, the 1st of December, 2020. Let's talk about the market. Interesting day today. We're a bit lower in the stock market right now. A lot of these charts with the move you had up today, it's a little confusing. You know, the big sell-off late yesterday and in through the whole day, actually. And then you get this big bounce today, and what's that about? Well, I'm going to repeat. I think yesterday was a lot of profit taking for the end of November. Big gains, pro-traders taking money off the table, especially if they're money managers, and protecting their income. Why not? If you work January through November and you got a heck of a year, how much are you going to put at risk in December? So that's something to think. At the same time, new money gets committed typically on the first day of a new month. The first and second days are where, if let's assume you went to a fund and you said, hey, I want you to manage this for me, they don't typically put it in mid-month. They want to start with where the month ended so that the net asset values and everything can get figured out properly. It's the smart thing to do. When I was in that part of the business, I know that's what we were doing. So that's one of the things. The other is the market's all over the board, hoping and praying that there's some relief package to come. We saw today testimony from Messrs., as I'll call it, Powell and Mnuchin, and they did get along, you know, and Mr. Powell certainly wanted to keep his toolbox, if you will, with those tools out there, and it was taken away from him. And as Mr. Mnuchin said, I didn't take anything. It wasn't being used. Congress can give it right back. I get both arguments. And the simple fact is the Main Street Bank facility failed. Do you want to know why? What I think, at least. I don't think the people it was designed for can pay the money back, and they didn't want to go through the effort. What it really comes down to, if you want to keep these small business people alive, you got to give them grants. Now, is that socialism in a way? Yeah, but that's not my argument. That's exactly what Mr. Mnuchin was saying. And I know I'm not saying it's socialist. He's saying they don't have the ability to pay it back. So you're either giving them a grant or why do it? They're going to go out of business. Which way do you want to go with it? You need them in business. If you get one store and employs 4 or 5 people, let's multiply that out. You know, it gets interesting. What about a small business that employs 100 people? You get the story. That's what I'm talking about. So as we take a look, I want to stay with this PAVE, P-A-V-E, because I think infrastructure is going to be huge in 2021. In fact, for the next 4 years under, I'm assuming Mr. Biden will take over the presidency. And I think that infrastructure is a plan they're going to try to get through. We'll see if they take control, and they being the Democrats have both the ability to control the Senate and the House. I don't know. What I do know is this is a measure that I think is going to come into play. The trend is still up. The market has gone into a stall. You still have a pattern of higher lows, higher highs. If you took out 2021, it would be a sign that this thrust up at this point has run its course. If that occurred, I'd look for prices to possibly get back to the 18-day moving average of closes. If they don't make that break through the 2021, resistance is back up at 21.19. At this point on the chart, the trend is up as you got higher lows, higher highs. Because the market is over the 18-day moving average of closes, the bias is up. And if we look at the slow stochastic, there's a serious issue. And this rules the day. What is the issue? We had a fully embedded reading. You lost it yesterday, and today it stayed lost. Uh-oh. When that happens, it's normally a sign, not always, I'm not using that word, normally a sign that price and the 18-day average want to make a run for each other. We'll see if that happens. So I'm more in the camp that thinks you're going to get out of this 21 by resolving to the downside and getting to that number. In SMH, you have a fully embedded reading, bullish as can be. You're over the upper Bollinger Band. No, you only stay over it 5% of the time. You can get over it and stay over it a bit, but that algorithm's 5% of the time. I think the pros are taking money off the first challenge of it, which was yesterday. You got up to, 210.55, right into that number. You took it out. Today a bit higher. Okay. I think they're waiting to buy again until that embedded reading is lost. In XLI, what happened here? This is yesterday, you lost the embedded reading. Well, if it stays lost, what happens? You got to get it back today or that's the ball game. You didn't. I think you're going to get back to the 18-day average for a regroup. Close under that number, you actually get bearish. So I'm starting to get on a bunch of these charts signs I didn't expect to see where the momentum index, which often leads price, is turned down. XLE, same thing. So I'm looking for price to meet into this, be it the 18 and the 200. Now, this is an interesting as can be chart because what if you get over that 200? Then you've got the 18 over the 200 over the 1. They're not all lined up perfect. I can see that's the support area, but I do favor that this market might want to get there. What about XLE? The other thing I want no part of. I don't know what OPEC's going to do. Originally, there was supposed to be a short meeting. You're not even hearing things. They normally just gossip like crazy, and you're not hearing it. And I assure you, API, Reuters, Bloomberg, all the news services are trying to get news and put it out there, and I read all of them. And I'm not seeing that there's a leak yet. I do sense in everything I'm reading, there's some serious arguments going on as to what should be done. At the end of the day, if you're going to take on the Saudis, you're going to get hurt. They will turn on the spigots really fast. They did it to Russia before. I think they're going to get, in some manner, a compromise. I don't know what it'll be. QQQ, back up to the upper Bollinger Band. Now, each time you've gotten there, the public typically gets real bullish, and this is a problem zone where the market often, not has to, but often pulls back from. I'll stay with what I know. I think the pros are taking money off the table. You are not embedded. You're overbought. EFA, this crazy chart. You came down, you lost the embedded reading. I thought you would make a run for the 18-day average of closes, but what's my rule? The only time you can get back the reading when you lost it is the very next day, and it has to be done very quickly. There's no question what happened. It opened sharply higher, kept going, and I watched it. I had it on my screen. I'm going, son of a gun. That was the profit taking yesterday. This market, those pros still want to own this market. That's what it's saying to you. And we'll see, can it make a run to that upper Bollinger Band? Lose the reading and we'll get, I think, to the 18-day average. But it takes 2 days, not one. You lose it on day one and you can get it back early on day two, not at the end of the day typically. I use the word typically. There's always exceptions, but when you watch it as much as I do, you get a feel for it. If in GLD you lost the embedded reading. Now this is one of those that are always the tricky ones, the real tricky ones. It's not like you got a reading up to 23 or 24, 20.76, which means if the futures are probably down $5 to $10 in the morning, if, I'm not saying they will be, this market re-embeds. It'll look at that and it trades off of what that does. That's why it's so important to keep your eye on the futures markets. And when I do my morning subscriber video, it should really mean a lot for those of you that trade GDX, GLD, SLV, and all that. As we look at the miners, this is different. If we look at the miners yesterday, the question was, could it make a run? And I had said to you just yesterday, if it runs, I'm looking for first resistance at the 200-day average. It went there, it hung there, and it stayed over it. That's still the resistance point. If it can clear it by getting over today's high tomorrow, you put into play wherever the 18 comes in. Is there anything bullish? No, but you've ended a bear phase in the market. That's what's bullish. Can you re-embed? You could. The odds don't favor it when you got a 35 reading. That's 15 points away from getting back under the 20 level. So I don't think it's going to happen. That's my experience there. TLT, what did we just say yesterday? This is what we were talking about here. So if this market gets under 158.62, there could be a real problem. You could then end up with lower highs, lower lows in an overbought market. Any close under that number could set you up for a challenge down here. And lo and behold, this is what seems to be going on. So I think you stepped out of this bull wave. That ended. But I really think you're just whipping back and forth, but I still have this in a target zone. Why not the upside? When's the last time you hit an upper Bollinger Band? We got to come back to August. Markets by the way they hit these bands gives you a better idea sometimes as to is there more strength and weakness over months. You don't always need a monthly chart or a weekly chart. You can look at the charts and get a feel for them. So this chart's had more of a bent to want to break. And we also see that from up here, what the market has done. In the euro currency, I am bullish the euro. I've said that over and over. You've got your embedded reading in the market, but you're over the Bollinger Band. I'll let somebody else own it over that number. I'll take a look at it on terms that down the road I think it'll give to me. And that brings me to you. You know, today I've already recorded and put out my afternoon SPDR ETF with all the buy and sell strategies for my clientele. There are times when I'm super aggressive. You better get your pen out and, you know, it's a recording so you can hit pause and put it back and forth as often as you want in there. But there are times when I don't want you to do anything. There's a lot that's being done right now. And that's the whole idea here. I want to be your sounding board. I don't want to be your money manager. I have no interest in it whatsoever. Can I be any clearer? What I am interested in is a guy that you say, you know, this guy I want to follow, he's bullish, he's bearish. What am I seeing on the charts myself? Darn it, I am bearish. Why am I lacking that trigger finger? Maybe this is something I should do. Don't know. I cover more than this. I've added PAVE as an example. We're up to nearly 40 charts. That was what I wanted to get to. We're going to redo these ads over the Christmas period here, give them a nice fresher look and everything else that we can with them. And I think you'll find it to be pretty interesting. So the idea in the afternoon, giving you a feel for what is going on. And for those of you that subscribe to both my videos, you get a complete package. What does that mean? The combo package that I do, you're getting that in the afternoon and then at 5:40 a.m. Central Time. I start recording and I go through 40 futures charts with all kinds of trade ideas. I will mention SPDR's GLD. I'll do everything you can imagine in there. The charts for these stay here, those go there. But this chart, when we talk gold, GLD, it's based on the futures contract. SLV, it's based on the futures contract. You know, the miners are different. They're looking at mining stocks, but to a degree, the asset in the ground determines what they've got in a certain value and what they bring out of it and their cost of mining, and then what do they bring onto the balance sheets. I can go on and on. That's just in the metals. In any case, to get this, why not give it a try? $8.95, price of a nice custom coffee. And this is 26 videos in a month. That's a lot. I'm Ira Epstein. Hope you do give it a try. Go to our website under the word research. I'll talk to you tomorrow.